Good morning, everybody. This is A.L. Johnson with Elevating Men, and this is Motivational Moments. Every week we come to you, and this is all about getting your mindset right. This features our motivational speaker and life coach, Mr. Leron Barnes. Last week we had a very good conversation. The topic was how to overcome negative self-talk and achieve your goals. And so before we get into today's conversation, I want to show you a couple of quick clips so you can catch up. You can see the full video on our YouTube channel at Elevating Men, or you can also visit our Facebook page. And so let's check out what happened last week. Last week on Motivational Moments with Leron Barnes.
Listen to what you're saying and then ask yourself, why am I saying it? Find out why you believe that. And you'll find out it's a lot of our doubts. I'm not good enough. Well, I don't know, have the education. I don't know how. A lot of times we are saying those things in our mind. We don't say it out loud. And when we say that in our mind, then we begin to act out what we are saying. We begin to speak limiting beliefs that stop us from achieving our goals and success. So that's good, man. Our habits determine our lives. Our habits do. And so we got to grasp onto habits that are going to help us improve our lives. The habits that you have right now is the reason why you're in the situation you're in right now. The habits. If you have created habits that are going to propel you into the direction you really want to go, then it's an excited life you begin to live because now you're moving in the right direction. But if you're looking at your life, if you're looking at where you are on the journey, it's not about feeling bad where you are, but understand it's your habits that led you there. It's your not getting up on time. It's your not going to the gym when you know you need to go. It's being a procrastinator. That's a habit. You didn't get into procrastination just because one day. No, it was perpetual. It was doing it over and over again, not doing what you know you need to do when you need to do it. Keep on making excuses for yourself, even though those excuses are maybe legit to you in your own mind, but they're not producing results. I want results over legitimacy.
So as you can see, the conversation was great. There were a lot of great tips. Again, if you want to see the full video, you can go to our Elevating Men page on YouTube as well as Facebook. We're about to get into a great conversation today. The title was How to Stay Focused and Productive in a World Full of Distractions. And so stay tuned. All right. Good morning and happy Sunday to you. I'm A.L. Johnson with Elevating Men. I'm here with my brother, Leron Barnes, and this is Motivational Moments. We come to you every Sunday to help you get your week started off right. How you doing this morning, bro?
Listen, I am so doggone great, man. I tell you what, I am on vacation in California, but I could not wait to get on here and speak to the people today, man. I'm excited.
That's what it's all about, consistency. It doesn't matter where you're at or what you're doing. You always got to make time for the things that are most important. So we appreciate having you here. For those of you who have never seen our Motivational Moment segment, this is what we do to get our week started off right. A lot of times people ask me, they say, well, why don't you do motivation on Monday? I say, why would you do it on Monday, right? Because half of motivation is preparation. And so this is how we prepare ourselves for the week in advance. We don't tear ourselves down over the weekend and expect to have a great week starting on Monday. We start Saturday, right? It comes to, your diet, your exercise, making sure that you've planned out your week. Moving into Sunday, you want to get your spirit right. And so it's all about mind, body, and spirit being in alignment going into the week. And so that's what we're doing today. Last week, we had a great conversation. We talked about how to overcome negative self talk and achieve your goals. Mr. Barnes gave us 5 tips. And so I'm going to run through those really quick to set the stage for this week's conversation. The first tip was to identify what you believe. The second was to change what you've been saying to yourself, get that negative self talk out of your head. Act on what you say without procrastination. Don't procrastinate. When you got a good idea, when you feel the energy, when you feel that movement, like, hey, I need to get this done, do it right then. 4, speak out loud against the negative self-talk and that inner voice that you have. And 5, repeat the process because it's continual. Again, if you want to see the full video, you can go to YouTube, search Elevating Men. You can also follow our Facebook page. Today, we're going to talk about how to stay focused and productive in a world full of distractions. It's distractions everywhere. Distractions on your phone. It's distractions at your family. No matter where you're at, there's something trying to take you off track. And so today, he's going to give us 5 more tips on how to make sure that we can handle that and stay productive. He's having a couple camera issues. Don't even worry about that. The brother's out of town. He's on vacation, but he was willing to take out some time to make sure that he was able to motivate us this morning. And so I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor. Bro, how do we stay productive with all these distractions?
Man. If this wasn't one of my greatest nemesis, Andrew, then we would not be talking about this today. How to stay productive in a world full of distractions. Wow. Well, let me tell you this. Everyone who's listening, the first thing that is very important when it comes to staying productive in a world full of distractions is that you have to know exactly where you're going, Andrew. You have to have that vision. You have to know, you have to see the big dream. You have to have the big goal. And one of the greatest things I've ever learned, once you have that big dream, you have that big goal, you know where you want to go. The greatest thing that I've learned, Andrew, is you got to put it on the calendar. Forgive me on the screen. You got to put it on the calendar. Greatest thing. A lot of times, a lot of us are not as productive as we want to be is because we don't schedule it. So we don't know when to do when. Hear what I just said? We don't know when to do what when. And so our days a lot of times are all out of whack. I mean, look, I remember I used to plan my day on the day. I don't know about you, Andrew, but have you ever planned your day on the day? I planned my day on the day, and then I couldn't even get my first foot off the ground because once I did even take the first step, I didn't know what the next step was going to be because I didn't put it on the calendar. Put it on the calendar and do not plan your day in the day, plan your day before the day.
I love that. I love that. Anybody that knows me and has known me for any amount of time, I always tell people if it doesn't make my calendar, it's not going to happen. I literally live by my calendar. Everything is scheduled. I had a mentor that told me years ago, you have to schedule success. Listen
Come
to that
on.
again. You have to schedule success. And so if you want to be successful, your schedule needs to reflect that. And to create a schedule that actually, you need a certain amount of foresight, right? You need to plan in advance and say, okay, how's my day going to look? How am I going to structure it? What are the most important tasks? Let me put those at the top of the day so I make sure I get those done. Then you can take into account for inconsistencies. You can even make time for things that'll throw you off track because we know that this isn't a perfect world and everything doesn't go smoothly all the time. And so when you put it on your calendar, it really allows you to plan ahead for contingencies. And so I'm all about scheduling on the calendar. And like you
I want to,
said, you
I
gotta
want to,
you gotta do that in advance. Right.
and I want to add this because you said something very important, and I think a lot of people misunderstand. I hate this phone already, but I think a lot of people misunderstand is that prioritizing is very important. You got to know how to prioritize. What's the most important thing to you and the most urgent? Okay, right now for me, for example, I have so many things in the pot. You hear what I'm saying? I got summits that I'm speaking on. I got conferences that I'm speaking at. I'm doggone. You see, I'm on vacation and I got to talk to my peeps out here. I mean, I have so many things. I speak so many different places, and still, this is what I know. I know that the first thing is this. I have to be able to know what to do first. What is priority? What is most important? I got a mental health conference coming up with Elevating Men. We're doing a breakfast coming up next week. Guess what I'm doing? I'm rehearsing and practicing on what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it. So when the time comes, I'm prepared. And I put it on a calendar, and then I attack that thing first. That's how you know what to attack first. And that's how you begin to um, be extremely productive in the moment.
And I want to add something to that. Not only do you put it on your calendar, because think about old school, right? You had to write it down in the calendar, and then you had to remind yourself to go and look at the calendar and say, what's next? Use technology, people. And so go ahead and schedule it on your calendar or your phone. And what I do is I put a notification for the day before, the hour before, and 10 minutes before. And so
Boom.
no matter what, it's always popping up. Another thing is not only do you put appointments on your calendar, put tasks on your calendar. If you work out at a certain time, put that on your calendar. If you're meal planning, if you're trying to make sure that you take in enough water, you can literally put all of these things on your calendar. And so utilize the technology that you have to create the best schedule for yourself so you can be as productive as possible. And
Come
so
on.
that was step number one. That was step number one. And again, for those of you that are just tuning in, we appreciate you. Thank you for the comments, Steve Hilliard, Mr. Robert Francis. We appreciate you watching. Make sure that you share this with your network because this is an important conversation. We're talking about how to stay focused in a world full of distractions. Tip number one, use your calendar. All right, now tip number two, we have break down the plan. Talk to us. What does that
Now,
mean?
we got to break it down. Now, we talked a little bit about this last week, but I think it's very important to stress what we mean by break it down. We got to break it down to the most smallest denominator. I'm talking about we got to break this thing down to make it easy as can be. The reason why many of us don't take action is because we have a lot of anxiety, overwhelm of what it's going to take in order for us to accomplish this goal that we're in pursuit of. So we got to break it down. Okay, I got it on my calendar. I know I'm going to be speaking at a mental health conference. Well, one thing I know is very important is that I need to start putting my content together. I need to go ahead and start working on that end. You hear what I'm saying? I need to work on that and get my content together. And so the very thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write down each step. What do I got to get done? Well, the first thing I need to work on is my intro. Get that part done. Go ahead and work on my body. Go ahead and work on my clothes. I may not even work on those all in the same setting because I want to make sure that I'm not overwhelmed in the moment. I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to be all that got a lot of stuff going on within my own self that gets me out of the right mindset. See, once I break it down and get that part done, write the content, then I'm putting my camera up in front of my face and I'm rehearsing it. I'm rehearsing it. I'm visualizing. I'm seeing myself at the conference already speaking, impacting and empowering the people. And so that's the second thing. Again, I don't do all this in one setting at times, especially when I know there's a lot I have to take care of. Again, the main thing, forgive me you all for my camera, we're going to ignore that. You know, the devil is a liar. We're going to keep talking. We're going to keep making this work. Take these jewels. It's powerful. So the main thing I'm trying to do here is in the moment that I'm working, I don't want to allow myself to be overwhelmed. I got to protect my mental health. I got to protect my peace. I got to make sure that it's not extremely overwhelming to me and anxious and gets me very anxious. So that's why I break it down to these small steps. But now, as I'm moving, as I got through the content now, which was the most challenging thing, now I get to rehearse and practice, which is more fun. Now I'm motivated. Now I'm excited. Now I'm ready to go. Now I'm in the zone. And once you get in the zone, oh, it's over then.
Oh yeah, no, that's 100% correct. I love what you said there, breaking down the plan. A lot of times we create these monster goals, just these huge goals, but if we don't break it down, it does create that anxiety because it's like trying to eat an elephant. You've heard that saying, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? You don't look at the whole elephant and figure out how you're going to swallow it, right? But that's what a lot of us do with our goals. We create these big, huge, monstrous goals, and then we just stare at them. We don't get started because we haven't broken it down into actionable items, into chewable and digestible pieces. And so you do have to look at that overall goal. One thing that I do is I create basically a thought bubble on a piece of paper. And so this is a tool that you can take with you. I throw out a thought bubble. My main goal goes in the center, and then I just create these little offshoots, right? And in each offshoot, I create a task that needs to be done to accomplish that main central focus. And then it allows me to have a visual so I can sit back and look at it. And now I look at each individual bubble and I break that down some more. And what I'm trying to do is get down to the lowest common denominator, just like in math. I want the smallest piece possible so that I can look at a small step that doesn't say, hey, I'm trying to build a YouTube channel with 100,000 followers. The first step may be I need to create this first piece of content in this specific niche. And so break down the goal. Once you break it down, of course, the first step was to put it on a calendar and create notifications as a reminder. Was there anything else that you had on breaking it down?
No, that's the most powerful thing. Once you break it down, you got to go right to the next step, which is so powerful because what word am I looking for? It complements breaking it down, if I can say. And so after you break it down, you got to set a timer.
Now I've got so we have put it on a calendar, break it down, and then the next one we have remove all distractions.
Remove all distractions.
How do we do that?
Remove all distractions. Now listen to this one. Y'all, this is powerful. And don't you miss it. One of the most challenging issues that we have when it comes to being productive in a world full of distractions is that it's distractions. That's the whole point. We live in a world full of distractions. So you have to get out of the distractions way, or get the distraction out of your way. Now, how do we do that? Well, there's many ways we can do that. For example, I have an office at home, and I have 4 children with a wife, and everybody needs daddy at some point. What I do, for example, is I have a do not disturb sign I put on my door. And I taught my children, hey, when this sign is on the door, don't come to daddy's door knocking on it. Wait till it's flipped around. And daddy will come out to you because daddy's working. And I need you all to quiet down while this sign's on the door so that daddy can get work done. But as soon as daddy comes out, daddy's going to talk to you. Daddy's going to play with you. Daddy's going to answer your question. And so you got to set boundaries. You got to set boundaries to remove the distraction. Another thing is, if you can't get peace because it doesn't work like that for you, go in the car. If my house doesn't quiet down like I need it to quiet down, I'm going in the car and I'm taking that quiet space. And it helps me think better in there where I can hear my own thoughts. I'll go to the library. You got to go to a place where you can think. Some of your place is out in nature, out at the park, at the library. Some of your place may be in the car. I go to the lake. Wherever you got to go that will remove the distraction and inspire creativity, inspire you to get productive. It would inspire those things because we live in a world full of distractions. Turn off your notifications on your phone. Download an app like I got called Freedom, which allows you not to get on social media or any kind of websites, called Freedom. And when I want to get on my distraction sometimes, which is Facebook at times, what I do, I put on Freedom, which won't let me get on any website that's going to take my attention away from what it's supposed to be on. So you got to remove the distractions by any means necessary. And once you remove those distractions, I'm telling you, you're going to be extremely productive.
Hey, listen, that's good. I'm going to download the Freedom app. And for those of you that are wondering, like, we don't get paid for any kind of referrals or anything like that, but that makes a lot of sense. One thing that you do as well, man, you put your phone on Do Not Disturb. So I'll call this brother and it's like Straight to boy. I thought he had me blocked at one point because this man is serious about protecting his time and his mental energy. And I love it because it's extremely important when you're really pushing for your goals. Like I said, there's so many different distractions, social media being one of the largest ones. One thing that I do, I actually look at the end of the week and I try to take a look at my time that I spent. I love that. And so my phone gives me a weekly report. How much time was on YouTube? How much time was on Facebook? How much time was on TikTok? And I try to bring that number down every week because unless I'm creating content or responding to comments or something like that, the majority of that time is unproductive, right?
Mm.
And so we really have to, again, I have to keep going back to the calendar because when it comes to eliminating distractions, you have to be busy, right? Because an idle mind is always looking for something to do. And so fill up your calendar, make sure that it's full, make sure that you have things that you're doing that are productive and moving you in the right direction. And in addition to that, hey, during those times, I'm not to be distracted. Like you said, when it comes to kids, when it comes to children, you have to train the people around you to understand that you're trying to be productive. Most of us have families of some sort. You've got children. Train them to know that, hey, I love that do not disturb sign. When you see do not disturb, hey, daddy is busy. He's making a way for us. He's doing what he has to do to put food in your bellies and shoes on your feet. And so allow dad to do what he needs to do. I absolutely love that. For those of you that are just tuning in, we're talking about how to eliminate distractions, focus on your goal, and get things done. And so we have 5 tips. The first one was put it on a calendar, which is huge. Break down the plan into small bite-sized pieces so that you're not overwhelmed by the big goal, and then remove all distractions. That's what we just talked about. Step number 4 is set a timer. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Listen to this, y'all. Set a timer. You heard it. Set a doggone timer. When? When you're working on your craft, when you're working on the work, when you remove all distractions, when you set it on a calendar, you got to set a timer now. Because what you're doing is, it's called time block, where I'm going to work on my work from this time to this time. It's called, I don't know if any of you have heard of this, the Pomodoro method. It's where you take a certain amount of time. Let's say you want to work on a project for a whole hour. Well, don't sit there for an hour. It's 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 draining. It's boring. It's sometimes, unless you're in the zone, it's get you very anxious. That's me. I can't sit there too long because I get anxious. And when I get anxious, I begin to overthink. I begin to think about other things that shouldn't be on my mind. But when you set a timer, for example, I'm working for an hour. The Pomodoro method says 25 minutes, a 5-minute break, come back for another 25 minutes, a 5-minute break, and another 25 minutes. You can do it like that, or you can do it within an hour if that works for you, if you just need that much time. But it's 4 sessions of the Pomodoro method, and it's saying 25, 5-minute break, 25, 5-minute break, 25. You're done. What does this do? Well, it actually rejuvenates your thinking energy. It helps you to come back with clarity. It helps reduce mental fog. It helps you not be so overwhelmed that you want to do something else. You know what happens to me when I set my 25-minute timer and I have something to look forward to, which is a break here in a minute. What it does is it makes me want to work longer. I don't want to take the 5-minute break. I actually have to force myself to take a 5-minute break in order to come back to the work so that I can have way more mental clarity and energy. Because once you're in the zone and you know you're coming up against a 5-minute break, now you can spend all of your mental energy, all of your might, your energy to really focus on that thing that you want to focus on. And a lot of times where most people think is important is the quantity of work they get done. And they miss it because really the quality. And how do you have a great quality of work? You got to spend as much focus and time in that 25-minute time block.
I love it. I love it. Stick with us, folks, because we only got a few minutes left. We try to give you as much impact as we possibly can in 30 minutes. And so we're almost out of time. For those of you that are just tuning in, we're talking about how to stay productive in a world full of distractions. I love the setting a timer. One thing that I do is set a timer as well. And what it does for me, it does give me that extra boost of energy because it's like a race almost. Like, hey, I only got 25 minutes to get this done. So let me go ahead and get to work. I love that you schedule the breaks in there as well because sometimes we'll sit there and we feel like we're being productive because we're sitting at the desk, we're sitting at the computer, but we're just sitting there. We're not getting anything done. And so it's good to go ahead and take that break so that you can rejuvenate, refresh. If you got to hydrate, get some water. Sometimes I'll just do a few push-ups, get the blood pumping, get the mind working. And so I love that method, the Pomodoro method. Check that out. All right, number 5, work. Talk to them.
Now it's time to work. Look, at the end of the day, once you set that timer and you in your zone, do the work. That is so simple, plain, and easy. You got to work. Once you're working and you're working and you're working and you finish working after the work, give yourself a pat on the back. Congratulate yourself. Reward yourself. Tell yourself how great you are. Tell yourself how excited you are for getting the work done. Because congratulating yourself, going out, and actually rewarding yourself is what actually trains your brain to know that it's worthy. You're worthy because you have to do the work, and the work gives you the result, which gives you the motivation to do the work again. Do the work.
That's it. That's it. That's what we run from is the work. We'll do all the planning, the strategizing, the dreaming, the projecting, and all that. But then when it comes down to doing the hard things, that's where a lot of us stop. And so, again, I'm going to run through these 5. We have put it on a calendar because if you don't schedule it, it ain't going to get done. You have to schedule your success. Break down the plan. Don't look at the big picture. Look at the small, actionable steps that you need to do. Remove all distractions. That means letting the people around you know when your busy times are. That means setting your phone on do not disturb if you have to, blocking out that time. And hey, quit wasting time on social media. All right. Number 4, set a timer, right? Because that invigorates you and it lets you know, look, I've only got so much time to get this done. So let me give this 100% of my focus, no distractions. And then number 5 is the thing that everybody likes to avoid, and that's doing the work. You got to put in the work. And so those are the 5 tips that we're leaving you with this week to stay focused and stay productive in a world full of distractions. Before we get into the announcements, is there any last thoughts that you had on this topic?
Look, you all, every week we're going to be doing this. And so it's time to get moving. It's time to step into your greatness. That's what this is about. Moving out of your fears, out of your doubts, out of your insecurities, out of your excuses, and stepping into your greatness. So let's go. Every week, the same time, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, we're going to be here.
Love it, love it. And so before we go, we want to leave you with a few announcements. Elevating Man has a ton of things going on, so we don't want you to miss out. Go and grab your pen, grab your paper, pull up your note app. I want you to write down a couple dates. And so the first one that I need you to write down is this coming Saturday, the 13th, the Elevating Man and Oasis Church Men's Conference. This is going to be a powerful event. We don't want you to miss it. It opens at the doors open at 8:30 a.m. We're going to provide free breakfast, free entry, so it doesn't cost you a penny. Let's not allow money to be a barrier. And make sure that you bring a friend. And so to RSVP, you can inbox us on the Elevating Men page, or you can contact either of us directly. We have a few seats left, and so we want you to grab those up ASAP. What's going to be going on at the conference? We have, I already told you, free breakfast. We have health screenings through Simbi Holistic Health. We're going to have financial literacy sessions offered by Bank Midwest. We also have a therapist group by the name of Men's Wellness Collective. And so if you need someone to talk to on a professional level that can help you unpack some of the issues that you've been dealing with, we'll have therapists there live that you can not only talk to, but you can schedule individual sessions. If you use the code Elevating Men, a portion of that will be taken care of for you. And so we're trying to remove all the barriers to the issues that men face so that we can become better for our families and our community overall. Again, this is July 13th, this coming Saturday. Put that on your calendar. Next up, we have the gospel stage play. It's not ministry, it's competition. That's going to be coming to you at the Off-Broadway Theater, July 26th through the 28th. We're pretty much sold out But we definitely want you to support us. And so if you see any of the promo videos, flyers, or anything, please share those. For those of you that don't know, I'm not an actor, but if you look at the bald-headed guy in the middle, that's me. So it's my first time being on a live stage play, so I'm so excited about that. Very much looking forward to it. And then, Leron, I'm going to let you tell them about this removal of the mask. What's that?
Absolutely. July 27th, we have removal of the mask, superhero syndrome. It's our mental health conference, annual mental health conference, where we're going to be able to basically help you get a revelation that we all have to get in order to not take on the weight of this world. So it's time to put down the weight, put down the cape, remove the mask, and we're gonna be talking about mental health and how to let that go. How to let you. So
Definitely, definitely. And so both of us are going to be on that panel. What is the location?
actually, the location. Would you put that back up? I want to be able to see because I want to write this down just as well. Actually, we didn't even have it on there. Forgive me right now. It's an empowerment temple. We'll put that in the chat. I won't put that in the chat because I didn't write that down. We just move locations, different location right now. I don't got the address to that one, but we'll put that in the chat for sure.
Definitely, we appreciate that. And then just for Elevating Men, tomorrow night, Monday at 8 p.m., we have our men's panel. We do that every Monday, Men's Mental Health Mondays. We've been having a very good conversation. You need to go watch the last two episodes. I'm not even going to get into all that, but go watch the last two episodes. You'll know what I'm talking about. This week, we're going to be talking about counteracting the culture. It's going to be a deep one. And so tomorrow at 8 p.m., put that on your calendar. Oh, gosh, what else we got coming up? And then for the month of August, our very own A.L. Boykin, he's authored a book called The Top 10 Reasons Why Men or I Refuse to Say I Love You. It's a deep dive into accountability for men as it relates to our relationship with women. And so that is going to be very intriguing for the month of August. We're going to go through the book. It's a part of our book club, which is a new thing that Elevating Men is doing. We definitely want you all to be a part of that. There's a couple other things going, but I'm going to save those for later. Don't forget to tune in again next week for Motivational Moments, where we get your mindset right for the week. And so this was definitely a great conversation. I appreciate all the tips. I learned a couple things, and I hope everyone who's tuned in has learned some things as well. Listen, next week, 9 a.m. to 9:30, same place, same time. We appreciate each of you and every one of you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.